storm, man.
Nobody calls Han Solo a bitch.
Bring him on. I prefer a straight fight to all this sneaking around.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Oh, come on, bro. It's the wars.
All right, so suddenly the Star Wars universe has been thrust into this whole thing of what could have been. Like all of a sudden we're DC or Game of Thrones. This is The Wars and More. I'm Joe. And of course with me this week is my good buddy Doug. Hey Doug, how you doing this week?
I'm doing okay, Joe, but how dare you?
How dare I what?
Like DC or Game of Thrones? Come on, this is
I'm
Star
just
Wars
saying,
we're
like
talking about.
This is the kind of crap that we just constantly see from Justice League or Game of Thrones or something like that.
Right.
It's just, oh, we could have had this or we could have had that. Like, look, it's done.
Right.
All right. Like, I understand all the things you wish would have happened and wanting those.
Sure.
But like, this is just getting ridiculous.
Right.
I mean, we had the JJ cut
Yes,
last
I was
week.
just going to mention that.
Right?
Yes.
So last week we're like, oh, we could have got the JJ cut. Like it's longer. They did this and Disney changed all this stuff. And okay, yes, we could have, but we didn't.
We did not. Exactly.
And now this week it's the Trevorrow script.
Yep.
All right. I don't know if everybody was reading the same thing that I was reading, but I'm just going to throw this out there. I'd have fired his ass too.
Yeah, I got to agree.
I mean,
man.
And let me explain a little bit. Just, I think this is a hindsight syndrome kind of deal where you're seeing this thing that you would have liked to have seen and this thing that you would have liked to have seen and thinking that makes the whole movie for you.
Right.
I think if you put all of this together, this is just a chaotic mess.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, not saying that the current version isn't chaotic, because it is.
Yeah, well, we talked about that, right? So we we went over how all of the there was a lot of stuff that needed explaining, right? And there was a lot of ground to cover, and it was fast paced and it seemed rushed, but all in all, everything kind of like came together, and it worked. If there's certain things that you felt like you had to have in order for this movie to be, perfect for you, that weren't there, welcome to the club, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah, I just I get wanting certain things, okay? I'm blown away that like right now it's we should have had this storyline or this storyline or why is Palpatine there and like wait. I mean, I'm gonna jump around here and I'm gonna dive into some of this stuff. But like we are supposed to have a 7,000-year-old whatever for a villain that gets no resolution, and instead of Palpatine, the villain through literally the entire saga.
Right. So you're going to have this guy who we have zero backstory for, and nothing, it comes out of nowhere, right? We had we had Snoke, and we had so little backstory from him, and we got rid of him, and now we're gonna do this again, going into the final
but
film.
They're not gonna get rid of him. That's the thing. They're just gonna.
Well, we don't know because we have these bullet points from this script, but with Palpatine,
how do you deal with it? How do you deal with it? Like, you're gonna take this character, introduce him, right?
Exactly.
And you're gonna go to Mortis for this battle between Rey and Kylo Ren.
Uh-huh.
How do you come back and finish this other guy?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, they kill that other guy before they go there.
Now,
I mean, and then how do you rebuild a resistance? You're literally pointing out in this script that there is no resistance. They steal the Star Destroyer, and they don't have an army to use any of the tech, any of the weapons they just stole.
yeah.
So what, you're gonna build the new resistance or rebellion or whatever in a 80s style montage?
That
Like it's gonna be like a Rocky film.
Oh,
Put together this army.
could you imagine John Williams putting some music together for that? That would be awesome. I'm kidding. I don't know. A lot of this stuff in here seems really disjointed. Like, I get we're getting vague descriptions, but it's, I don't know. Back to this 7,000-year-old alien dude. You might not have liked the fact that Palpatine came back without any real detailed explanation as to how he did. But he did, and we know who he is. We know his backstory. That works. You know what I mean? I just can't see introducing somebody and I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, I guess Palpatine being brought back was just less believable than the 7,000-year-old Darksider hiding away.
Right. Yeah. 7,000 years old you are. Yeah.
Get the hell out of my face with that crap.
Right. That was, Yoda was, 900 is like, oh my God, he's 900, right? But 7,000? We just got to okay, we're going to, I don't know. Just,
on one hand, everybody's like, how do you drop bombs in space?
Right.
And then over here, we're like, oh yeah, I totally like the 7,000-year-old alien hiding away over here. What?
Yeah. I don't know, man. I
mean, I understand that we've already had exposure to characters that live a long time.
Correct.
Yoda, for example.
Yes.
Maz Kanata.
Yeah.
Long-lived characters is not new.
Right.
7,000 would be completely smashing the ceiling that we've put out there.
That's what I'm getting at, right? We're gonna outdo everyone that we've seen so far by a factor of 10, let's say.
You already outdid Yoda with Maz.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
And so the talk of going to Mortis. This is something that I, as a fan of all the trilogies, the Clone Wars, Rebels, all of it, I would love to see this. I'd love to see a story like that play out. But there's no way you're going to be able to work this into a movie and have it make sense for everybody. You know what I mean? I just don't get what they're thinking there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Like, I don't understand how you're going to be able to introduce Mortis, like you said, to make it enjoyable for everybody. I don't know how you're going to be able to introduce it, explain what it is, because not everybody watched the Clone Wars.
Correct.
A good chunk of Star Wars fans did. But I would say it's not the majority.
Oh, it's absolutely not the majority.
So you have to explain what this is to this group.
Yeah. And
while you're doing that, you have to fit in all these subplots.
Yeah.
Where they're going to Coruscant. They're going to Kuat. They're meeting this 7,000-year-old alien, this new villain. We got to explain who the hell this guy is. And then
Yeah.
We got to have this great battle sequence at the end. For this highly original story called Duel of the Fates.
Yeah, a battle sequence that is going to, be very reminiscent of Return of the Jedi, right? Battle on the ground, battle in the air, in space. Okay, but I don't know. You mentioned Coruscant. They're talking. We go to Mustafar. There's a lot going on in this.
And not only that, but while you're on Coruscant, Finn finds all these stormtroopers that are, turning against the First Order. And leads them in this battle. There's another thing you gotta do.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, you cannot even entertain the idea that the Rise of Skywalker is too busy, too crowded, too clustered, and then entertain this film.
Exactly. This is not only does it seem like there's more I don't know, I don't want to say loose ends, but a lot of stuff going on here, and it seems like all the connective tissue for it is like further apart, right? It's not as cohesive as what we saw on the screen.
I don't know. I remember being told, hey, when I said, hey, I didn't really like the way Luke was handled in The Last Jedi, and people are telling me to get over it.
Totally.
And then this crap comes out. I'm sorry. I am waiting to hear confirmation that this is Colin Trevorrow's script.
Yeah, there's nothing official. It seems as though a lot of people are trying to vouch for its authenticity, but I can't say that I've seen anything official on that. But I know this is, at least as of this week, this is kind of like
this is the hot item right now.
The hot item, yes.
And unwarranted. No, I hate being like that. I mean, do we want to gripe session over? Like, I've kind of aired my stress a little bit.
Okay.
And kind of break this down a little bit.
Sure.
I think that would probably suit it better than just going flying off the handle like I did. I sure did. Because I don't like this. I don't like this attitude about, like, okay, I understand wanting something different, right? I get that.
Yeah.
But to be pulling these rough drafts and scripts and other stories, I mean, I swear, if any of us mentioned George Lucas's original treatments, it's like, oh, crucify him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't run around going, I want to see this this trilogy redone with George Lucas's original treatments. No. Would I like to see that in like how they did the Star Wars, the comic book series, where they took George's original idea for Star Wars and did a comic book series on it? Would I like to see something like that, like a spin-off? Sure,
absolutely.
Why not see what could have been, for some things? But to be like, oh, we got robbed. No, we didn't get robbed. We got a completely serviceable Star Wars movie.
Absolutely.
Is this the best movie it could have been? Hell no.
No. There's reasons for that.
There's reasons for that, like the complete lack of direction for the sequel trilogy.
Yes.
The sequel trilogy was a... So do you know of like do you know these concepts of like developing stuff? There's these different processes for developing like courses, things like that. there's real structured ways of doing it with outlines and stuff like that. And then there's another process called rapid prototyping.
Okay.
Rapid prototyping is you pretty much are throwing stuff against the wall to see what sticks.
Aha.
This is how they made the sequel trilogy.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, while the other two trilogies
sit
down and put a trilogy together from start to finish. Okay, this is our starting point. This is what we want to achieve.
Yeah.
Now let's fill in gaps. They didn't do that
with the other two trilogies. I understand things changed. Okay, George is famous for kind of changing things on the fly, but he had a direction he was going in
yeah,
both
but to
cases.
sit down, write 3 films, and make edits as you go along is a lot different than writing a film, right? Because, okay, this is where we left off. Okay, let's write the next movie. Okay, that was good.
Yeah.
We like the direction. Now we're going to bring someone else in to write the next movie.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're going to have them start on that now before this one's done, right?
Yeah. And then not only that, so I got another question. So we just got this timeline, right?
Oh.
And we see this breakdown of how this sequel trilogy lines up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So your point zero now on this new timeline is literally like The Force Awakens and the The Last Jedi are like on the same point in there because it's like within the same year.
Yeah, yeah. It's like what? Within days.
Yeah. So yeah, the movies are like days apart.
Yeah.
You know, the whole chain of events takes place over the course of a single year. Let's just be generous with that.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. And then you got a 1-year gap to the next movie.
Correct.
How the hell is the First Order in control of everything? Did like literally no one fight back? No one.
Obviously.
They just walked. First Order walked in and says, "We're in charge now," and everybody said, "Okay, my give up."
Jar Jar style. So I do got to throw this out there.
But even just going in and saying, "Okay, we're in charge now," for thousands of star systems.
Yeah.
In a year's time, that would be how much a day?
I don't know. Like, you know. Like, I don't know. I'm going to guess like 10 days. Because that's what Ray
10
said.
10 days to take over all of it.
Ray said to Luke in The Last Jedi, it's canon. The First Order will be in control of all the major star systems within days. There we go. So,
yeah, but what's major star systems mean?
I don't know. I mean, all the ones that, you know, mean something.
I mean, in this little outline of a script, I was doing the thing with my fingers, just so you know.
Air quotes.
Yeah, air quotes. They say that only a few systems remain not under control of the First Order. There are only a few outliers.
And when you think about it that way, it must mean that they are simply not important enough for the First Order to care about, because otherwise they would have a First Order presence there.
Yeah, I would have to say, if the First Order was able to take over all the major star systems within days, the Resistance is screwed because everybody's a coward.
Yeah, totally.
No one fought back.
Well, we did get that initially. No one responded to Leia's personal code. So
yeah, I thought it's because they were busy fighting.
yeah.
But no, they just gave up.
it does seem odd. You would think something like what happened.
And here's the other thing. What? I'm sorry.
What?
I'm sorry. Like let's look at the stories leading up to the Force Awakens, and the way they talk about the First Order and the size. I
Yeah.
understand that they underestimated the First Order,
Correct.
but with the way they describe the size of the First Order in these books and stuff, there is no way they can complete a galactic campaign at the speed that they are laying out here.
Okay. I
It
mean,
just doesn't seem possible, especially after losing a major installation and thousands of people.
yeah, in the form of Starkiller Base.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I've played Risk.
Right. Yeah, Risk.
Yeah, when you lose 1,000 soldiers, is bad.
Yeah, totally. And okay, so what I was gonna say is also what happened to the Hosnian system. You would think would be like a, that's the shot heard around the galaxy, right?
Mm-hmm.
To turn a phrase, I guess. It's like, okay, that was really bad. We have to do something to counter this. Because the Hosnian system goes away, and then you hear the reports of, oh, the thing that just did that, that's gone now. Okay, cool. We might have a chance. Wouldn't that make sense?
Yeah, especially when you hear how small of a force was used to destroy that thing.
Always seems to be the
Do
way,
you
though.
really think that you are like helpless against the might of the First Order when such a small attack force was able to take it down?
I mean, that is the story of Star Wars. It's
Right, but I mean, do you just go, oh, wait, there's nothing we can do?
that is one thing that has been kind of puzzling for me with all this is the lack of, you look at, man, you look at all the way back to the prequels. So we had Padme teaming up with Bail Organa and Mon Mothma. We didn't see a whole lot of that, but they were starting things off. All the way up to like Rogue One, things were starting to get solidified, and as soon as the Battle of Scarif happened, it was like, okay, gloves are off. So you're right in the fact that it seems like there should be more opposition, especially you have lesser known figureheads in charge of the First Order. You know what I mean? We had Palpatine, and then Vader was a presence all his own. Everyone in the galaxy knew who they were. When it comes to the First Order, we have Kylo Ren. Oh, this guy's, guess he's kind of like a Vader type figure. But then, who's this Snoke guy? Nobody knows who Snoke is. Nobody should care. They should just want to take him out.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that the galaxy's war torn, like it
Yeah.
war fatigued,
Yeah.
but you also kind of you don't want to go under the control of a murderous regime again.
Exactly.
I mean, it's understandable if they cow to the First Order without Starkiller Base destroying the Hosnian system. I think that should be a catalyst enough to at least cause some sort of uprising. Now, whether that uprising is going to answer Leia's call or not is understandable. Okay, they might not be able to. They're busy mounting their own opposition.
But if that were the case, you would think they would get a response. Sorry, can't help right now. Kind of busy over here.
I mean, that too. I mean, I think we talked about this on the episode we did with Hunter. First Order might have just been jamming the signal.
It is possible.
I mean,
it's a good thought because it takes Lando going out and getting people to come, right?
Yeah, he did a Paul Revere ride.
Yes, that's a perfect way to put it. And it's kind of cool when you think about it that way. I like it.
Well, that's because with that moment, JJ went, "Oh, what would George do?"
Yeah.
Paul Revere's famous ride.
Yeah. Wow, looking at it that way, it makes me like that even better. That's cool.
Uh-huh. Nah, but we were robbed because we didn't go to Mortis.
Yeah. Again, as the fan I am, I would love to see a Mortis story like that. Coming further.
Yeah, but the seeds of that should have been sown in the first installment.
Exactly. So now there's people saying that about the Emperor, right? That you should have had hints.
Disagree.
You should have had hints of the Emperor controlling things. I actually think the way it played out worked out pretty well.
Well, I think the original intent, this shows their lack of direction.
Yes, absolutely.
I think the way it was originally intended to play out is that Snoke was the big bad.
Yes. Like he was controlling.
He was killed in the middle of the installment. It's like, well, I mean, we want Kylo Ren to not be the big bad. We wanted him to have this redemption arc.
Yeah.
So what do? Well, we might as well make Palpatine the main villain. It makes the most sense. He was the main villain for 6 of the 9 films. Why not bring him back for another one? So 7 of 9 films. Actually 9 of 9 once you put it in perspective.
Yeah, because he was there.
He is the villain.
Yep.
Makes sense. As opposed to killing off the main villain and then introducing a new main villain for the last installment.
But he's 7,000 years old, Joe.
Yeah, but what the hell did he do before that?
Yeah, who knows? So.
Oh, wait, you got to fill that in the same way they did with the Emperor.
Yeah.
So you're doing the same damn thing.
Exactly. But with somebody we know nothing about or care anything about.
Right.
With the Emperor, we have a history already. So that's one place where, what we got far outshines what could have been here.
Oh, I agree. Like, I still think the Emperor thing's weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't explained very well, in my opinion. How is he alive? But the other option was that Kylo Ren had to be the big bad till the end of the film and had to be killed as the big bad.
Yeah.
No redemption.
Which
because otherwise, if he doesn't go that route, you had no villain for the entire sequel trilogy. You really didn't. He's just teetering back and forth the whole time. That's not a villain. I'm sorry.
No, exactly.
You need someone that's committed to evil at the helm.
Yes.
I mean, how many movies do you watch where the bad guy at the end is like, "Oh, my bad, I was wrong"? We should all just be happy now. And then how do you live with that guy?
You can't. Oh, we talked about that.
That's like Hitler saying, "Oops."
Yeah. It's all right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
Yeah. Just don't move into my neighborhood.
No one is going to accept that.
Exactly. We talked about that. That Ben Solo, even as Ben Solo, redeemed, realizes that everything he did was wrong as Kylo, could not exist in the galaxy because
he's Himmler.
Yeah. Yep. Wouldn't work out.
Yeah. I don't get it. I mean, now the one thing I do like about this story arc is it followed what I was saying all along, is I don't feel like Kylo Ren was in a redeemable spot.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of exploring that avenue. He stays bad till the end. He becomes the big bad. Even though they still introduce another big bad, I think, pointlessly.
That's...
Because I think if you leave him as the big bad, you don't need to introduce anyone else. This is your villain.
Yes, but...
He has taken the reins.
In my opinion... Okay, so... I don't know. I'm up in the air. I'll say that. I'm up in the air as to whether or not he's bad enough to be the big bad, right?
Well, I mean, the way it was written, he never was.
Exactly.
But in the last installment, I think his last interactions in the Last Jedi was enough to send him down the path to becoming absolutely ruthless, no way back. Ultimate baddie.
Which is kind of the way he was portrayed at the beginning of the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
So I could see
it could have been done.
Yeah, it could have been done.
He could have been the ultimate villain.
Yeah.
For this saga. But to achieve that, he cannot teeter at all throughout the entire film. He has to be completely resolved in his choice. And I thought they set it up perfectly in The Last Jedi for that when Rey turned away from him that last time.
Yeah, you've mentioned that scene a lot, and I agree. It was, that was them parting ways, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it sounds like, even in this script here, it sounds like he teeters. Has moments of,
Well, yeah. So he's got, what do you call it? Angel Luke standing on his shoulder, trying to bring him back, which just doesn't. Oh, and let me just say this, spoiler for the script that didn't make it into a movie. Luke fails at doing that. So I don't see the whole point of that whole thing going down, where Luke is constantly trying to bring Ben back out of Kylo. Doesn't do it. Kylo stays evil throughout the whole thing. Ends up dying that way. It all seems kind of like a pointless arc. In lieu of seeing what we got in the Rise of Skywalker. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you looked at that script, I think you're mistaken if you think the sequel trilogy has anything to do with the Skywalkers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I understand Ben Solo's a Skywalker, but yeah, he's a bad guy at that point and just completely destroying the legacy of the Skywalkers. While Rey is arguing with Luke throughout the film. Yeah, I don't know that script.
Yep. I think we're in agreement there.
Yeah, not a fan. Just I don't know. I understand that when you look at something in hindsight, you dissect the things that you wanted to see versus what you got. And once you start to see a couple things that are really the direction you wanted certain threads to go, you're going to latch onto it. And I think that's what's happening here.
I think you're right.
I think people are latching onto one or two little bits in this overall thing because this overall thing does not fit. It doesn't serve justice to The Last Jedi. It doesn't serve justice to The Force Awakens or the films that came before it.
Exactly.
I think this would have felt even more segregated from the rest of the saga than The Rise of Skywalker does. Even though I feel like The Rise of Skywalker pieces different parts of the saga together relatively well.
I was going to say
could be better.
Yeah, it could be, but I got no problem with The Rise of Skywalker fitting into the trilogy and the whole saga. For me, I mean, it works. You said it earlier.
They had
it's serviceable.
Broom Boy in it. The Broom Boy shows up in the script, being trained by Rey at the end. Come on, that's
Broom Boy.
We gotta have Broom Boy.
Broom Boy could be deleted from the end of The Last Jedi, and it would make no difference. So, if that's a problem, sorry, but I'm okay with that.
I think people are latching on to Broom Boy more than they need to.
Agreed.
Broom Boy was a conduit to show that the Force does not belong to this family, does not belong to this group of characters.
Yes.
That's what it was there for.
I know.
Its message was there, received.
But
good enough.
But the thing is, I think we were seeing some of that in The Rise of Skywalker with Finn. Which
agreed.
does far more than Broom Boy ever did to
honestly, I think Broom Boy was a good precursor to that. I think if without Broom Boy, I don't think you would make that connection with Finn as easily.
Disagree 100% because Finn was the guy wielding a lightsaber against Kylo Ren in The Force Awakens. There was a lot of people saying, how is that possible? Well, if that could have been explored just a teeny tiny little bit, maybe in The Last Jedi, and then on to The Rise of Skywalker. Hey, Ray, something I got to tell you. Something going on here.
Okay, so I got to interrupt.
Please do.
Finn was wielding a lightsaber against Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
First off, a wounded Kylo Ren.
Fine.
Okay.
So?
Second off, I watched Revenge of the Sith today.
Uh-huh.
And in that, I watched Magna droids wield staffs against Jedi. I watched General Grievous wield lightsabers against Obi-Wan Kenobi and hold their own for a moment.
Okay.
They were defeated.
Sure.
But so was Finn.
Sure.
And Kylo Ren was literally bleeding all over the place. I mean, you saw The Force Awakens did a really good job throughout that film showing what kind of damage the bowcaster does.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Kylo Ren was shot by that and then proceeded to still whoop some ass for a little bit. Even though he was bleeding all over the place.
Yep.
So, I thought that explained Finn. And Finn would have had that same training that riot trooper had,
Sure.
that baton.
which he didn't seem to do too well against with the lightsaber.
Right.
But I don't know. A lot of people feel like he was tapping into something.
Oh, I agree. I totally
Okay.
think Finn's
And-
force sensitive.
And this, this just accentuates the idea of some people being maybe a little force sensitive, not full on Jedi. They can feel something. Maybe they get a little premonition about something. They know they can feel the presence of somebody, but they can't really, they can't do a Jedi mind trick. They can't use telekinesis, things like that. That's something that just makes sense.
Yeah. Can't use the Jedi mind trick to steal a Star Destroyer and then turn around and go, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you kidding me? That was in that Trevorrow skip. Just on
Right. Well, hey, I like the idea of some people being force sensitive to lesser degrees. A lot of people, in this Trevorrow script, they talked about Rey still being quote unquote nobody, and people like that idea. But that's not what this whole saga has been about. It's been about the interaction of the Skywalker family with the Palpatine family. We kind of got that part of it in this last film.
Right.
And that works. It works for me. I think lineages and like a bloodline, that's hell, there's a book, a Star Wars book called Bloodlines. I don't know. That works.
And not only that, but Rey was able to cast off the baggage of her bloodline and do good.
Yes, exactly. You're because of your ancestry, you aren't predisposed to be good or evil. That was a message loud and clear in this movie, and I thought it was great. Yeah. But to have the abilities that she has, the bloodline also explains that, which for this saga, I think needed to be there. Just my thoughts.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I thought the force powers in this saga or in this sequel trilogy, I thought were crazy anyway. Altogether.
Crazy how?
Start to finish. I mean, just everybody was more powerful than anything we'd ever seen.
I don't know.
Anything we've ever seen in film.
Not so sure about that.
Who stopped a blaster bolt midair prior to that?
That's
suspended it there for the next 10 minutes while they had dialogue.
That's the one thing then. Because yes, I've spoken on that too, and that was very impressive. That was jaw-dropping for me. But
who else in Star Wars was able to connect, regardless of distance, see each other physically, transfer objects?
That was something that was started by Palpatine.
I understand that, but I'm just saying that, like, as this went along, I mean,
yeah.
the communication, seeing each other like you're standing in the same room, happened in The Last Jedi, the second installment.
Yeah.
And even the transfer objects part happened in The Last Jedi. We first saw that with the water and
yeah.
Kylo Ren.
The rain. Yep.
From the rain. Like physical water.
But still,
on his hand.
At that point, it was Palpatine. Now, Rey and Ben, they continued this on, and were able to make use of it, I guess.
I mean, we don't know that it wasn't Palpatine throughout all that too, but
well, not for the lightsaber transfer.
Well, yeah, he probably wouldn't have done that.
He'd have been blocking that one. But I guess what I was getting at as far as like, lightsaber battles and things. Prequel stuff was like the most acrobatic, most.
Yeah, I'm talking force power.
There was a lot of force power being used in the prequels, as far as we'll call it your pedestrian force powers. Okay,
right.
We had to add some stuff new in the sequel trilogy, I think, only to make it not more of the same. So, as impressive as all that stuff is, there might have been those that said, no, we've seen all this before. So I feel like the filmmakers felt like there had to be something above and beyond.
Most likely. I'm just saying, like, the evolution was exceptional in the sequel trilogy. And very rapid. But at least we got to see one of the original trilogy characters take part in that with Luke.
True.
So, yeah, I'm just saying, force powers got crazy.
Yes, they did.
Okay with it. It's kind of been the way Star Wars works. We've always seen, with each new thing that comes out, crazier and crazier force powers.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You're right. There has been an evolution from film to film, for sure.
And once one character does it, I mean, Hunter said this best. He says, once one character does it, everyone does it. Once one character throws a lightsaber, everybody can throw a lightsaber.
Yeah.
And have it come back to him. Boomerang a lightsaber, you know?
Yeah.
Force lightning, you see force lightning? Now you see force lightning all the time.
Yeah.
Whether it be video games, films, cartoons, whatever. You see it happen more and more once one character does it somewhere.
Yeah, that was the one thing that we saw out of Rey that I thought there was that part of me thinking that's an evil power, right? that's something that our last Jedi shouldn't be doing. But I think they still did a good job, showing us that this was a moment of kind of rage for her, where she's battling Kylo to hold the ship. So
yeah, I thought that was good, and it was a good way to kind of foreshadow her. I mean, as far as foreshadowing goes, I mean, they pretty much knew it at that moment.
Right.
Like, wait, we've seen one person use force lightning.
Exactly.
In this saga. Now we see a second person. Well, we know who she's related to. That was easy to deduce from that moment.
Yeah.
Have something to add to the conversation? Or you just want to let us know how we're doing? Email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. That's the best place to get in on the action. But if social media is a little more to your liking, @TheWarsAndMore on Twitter is always a good place to interact with us. And we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/TheWarsAndMore. And of course, your portal to this and everything else, The Wars and More, is thewarsandmore.com. All right, I think that's enough complaining for one episode, right?
Hey, who's complaining?
Huh?
I said, who's complaining?
No, I mean,
Hey,
we were complaining about complaining.
Yeah, we got opinions, right?
Yeah. We're just airing ours.
Yeah.
So it's, I guess it's what we do, right?
Of course it is.
I know we like saying that here. It's just what we do.
It is. And that's why we're here. We
Star
do
Wars
this.
fans, we fight.
Friendly fighting.
Yeah. So I'm going to take the last shot. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, they really should redo the Rise of Skywalker because it only made $1 billion so far.
Well. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, what a bust.
Yeah, bust. I know. I don't care who you are. $1 billion movie? Not a bad day.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously enough people like it for it not to go anywhere.
Exactly. It's
You know, we've aired complaints about The Last Jedi, right?
sure.
It's in this club.
Yeah.
It's also at the point where obviously enough people liked it. It's not going anywhere.
Exactly.
So it's what it is. Don't hold on to some script. Don't hold on to some, JJ cut.
Yeah. Well, neither of those things. So I think we all right. So we talked about it just real quick. I want to make this point again. A JJ cut. If something like that were to come to pass, it would be a corporate decision to re-release and make more money. I don't think they'll do that with Star Wars, though. And as far as this Trevorrow thing, it's a never was.
Right. And as far as the JJ cut goes, these like alternate things you think you're going to see if this happens won't happen. The storylines and everything that was established is going to stay intact.
If you can expand on what we got in the first place, without
it's going to be a director's cut, an extended film.
Exactly. It's not going to change story. That's for sure.
Which I say we promote that. Like, hey,
sure,
give us this director's cut. Give us this longer film.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we want more.
Yeah.
And you know what? You should totally release it in theaters again.
Yeah.
I'll go see an extended film.
I would absolutely do the same.
So, but you're not going to get a Trevorrow movie.
No. Well, not Star Wars movie. I mean, he might make some other movie sometime, but
I mean, he was kind of a jackass, so he might not make any of those either. So.
Nice.
Hey, just call it like I see it.
Right.
Hey, I'm just saying, he had problems, man.
Yeah.
He had problems. And, I mean, this script was one of them, so.
Yeah, well. Well, I guess you can't argue with $1 billion, right?
Yeah. You really can't.
And it is still running, so.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I think the estimates are going to be, it's probably going to finish out about 1.2 to 1.25.
Okay. That would put it just behind The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I think it was 1.3, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, it's a solid showing.
Yeah, it's nothing to sneeze at. And I don't think, Disney corporate's going to be complaining too much.
No, considering they spent 4 of those billions to get it.
Exactly.
So they've made their money back.
There's no doubt there.
So everything after this, I mean, they did it before this, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all icing at this point.
it's all icing on the cake at this point. So, and I mean, if you don't like this, you should be watching The Mandalorian. You know? Like,
Yeah.
just we have reached a point where Star Wars is getting to where, you know, there's not everything is suited for everyone that's a Star Wars fan, but there is something for everyone out there.
Yes. There, in the Star Wars universe, there are diverse enough titles, and I'm talking stuff for young kids, stuff for, you know, all age groups, and stuff for everybody, to where you can find something that would more than likely interest you if you're interested in this kind of science fantasy stuff in the first place. So, yeah.
Yeah, you know, we actually got a little gap coming up for feature films.
Yes, we do.
I'd like to make a suggestion.
Okay.
You remember we went and saw episode 1 in 3D?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
We should probably get 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in 3D in that gap. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, that had me excited, I gotta say.
To go watch them all
to
again.
go watch them all again in the theater. Yeah.
Yeah, at Celebration, they did episode 2 in 3D.
Really?
Yeah. But it was only for people who got into that panel at Celebration.
Wow.
So that's done. We should probably have that released. Episode 3 in 3D is probably going to be the most amazing thing that's ever happened to the prequel trilogy. Just saying.
The opening sequence.
Oh my god, that and the battle on Mustafar?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Hell, Utapau is going to look kick-ass in 3D.
Yeah, it would.
So, the elevator shafts.
Right? Yeah.
Just saying. Make it happen. Trevor will cut my ass.
Okay, it's time to let that one go.
Huh?
It's time to let that one go.
All right. Moving on. Last couple things. So, we talked last week about the BAFTAs. Well, the Rise of Skywalker is going to have a presence at the Oscars.
Oh, awesome.
So, of course, it's been nominated for 3 awards. You want to take a stab at it again?
Oh, what did I say last time? Visual effects.
Ding.
Sound editing.
Ding.
And music.
Yep, best original score.
Wow.
Ding.
Okay. It sounds like it's almost as though we've been here before, right?
Yeah, like 9 other times or something.
Exactly.
I mean, visual effects, ILM.
Of course.
Sound editing. Go to the theater, just sit through the credits. Most of the movies you watch are going to say Skywalker sound on there.
Absolutely. Yes.
So, yeah, there you go. And then it's John frickin' Williams.
Exactly. Yeah. There's no arguing that one at all.
I mean, I think John Williams does a movie and then he gets nominated. That's just kind of a thing.
just how it goes. Yeah.
I mean, Star Wars or not.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
Cool. Well, give me something to look forward to.
I think, Doug, you had one last rumor.
One?
For tonight.
Okay. So, a rumor. I was getting this off of Bounding in the Comics here. Title is Rumor. Disney and Lucasfilm developing sequel to Star Wars Rebels starring Ahsoka Tano. So, this is kind of what was teased at the end of the series Rebels, with Ahsoka and Sabine heading off to look for Ezra and Thrawn. And let's see. This was taken from. Okay, the rumor actually comes from YouTube channel Kessel Run Transmissions. It says the host Noah Outlaw and his co-host Corey explain, quote, "What we've heard is that the Star Wars Rebels sequel show is in development. It is going to be animated. It is set for 2020, this year." Excuse me. So, interesting. I would love to have more Star Wars. I would love to have this story be told. So, I don't know. Thoughts?
On the surface, I'm going to say, and not to be the bubble burster here.
Man.
On the surface, this seems like a pipe dream.
Really?
It seems like, yes. It just doesn't seem like it's getting enough traction anywhere to be legit. It seems like someone's saying, okay, yeah, we've heard that this is a thing. Okay, cool. You've heard that. Maybe they were talking about it somewhere. But a 2020 release, there's been no news. Nothing.
True.
Zip.
True. Yeah, no development news, things like that.
Yeah. Zip. Like I said, it just sounds too good to be true. I've been very critical of Disney's marketing strategy in the past, especially recently.
Uh-huh.
But, I mean, we are January 2020 right now, and we've heard zero.
Yeah.
This is supposed to come out this year. I don't buy it. Would I love to see this? Absolutely. I think it's a story that really deserves to be told.
Absolutely.
I hope it has some legs. This may be a thing. Okay, this may be in development. I think 2020 is a little ambitious for the story, and that's where I get skeptical.
Well, there's also another part that might add to your skepticism, and that is supposedly Filoni's supposed to have a lot to do with the development of this. So he's been heavily involved in The Mandalorian,
which would push that timeline up.
I would agree with that. So
I wouldn't doubt that Dave Filoni would be heavily involved in this development and that it is happening if it were further out.
Yeah. I could see him putting some bits and pieces of input into it, you know, adjacent to The Mandalorian going on, but most of his focus being on The Mandalorian, as it were. So
I just think being a 2020 project, Disney Plus being a new platform, I don't think that this would be hidden this far in.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it was November.
You're right, because when you look at everything else that we've had announced coming out, the announcements have actually been further out than what this would be. In fact, there's been no announcement. This is just a rumor. So
yeah. I mean, we've got announcements for Obi-Wan and Cassian with no dates.
Exactly.
You know, we've got Clone Wars. We found out about Clone Wars at San Diego Comic-Con back in what, July?
Yeah. It was, yeah.
I don't know. It seems too good to be true for a 2020 release. And usually when something seems too good to be true, it is.
It is.
But this is a project I would love to see. I think that show needs to have a continuation of that story.
Absolutely. It's been set up. He did that on purpose, obviously. So, and
I mean, the only thing that would kind of push this in the direction of Filoni's got this in his mind is after the Rise of Skywalker and the whole, Ahsoka's dead now because she showed up in the Voices of Jedi Past.
Right.
Dave shared a picture of Ahsoka with Gandalf.
Yeah.
That he drew.
Yep.
And Gandalf said, yeah, people thought I was dead too.
Yeah. That was actually brought up in this article. So,
is that their source?
It's not the exclusive source, but it was brought up as a something to bolster the rumor a little bit. So I think
that would bolster the idea that Ahsoka's on Dave's mind.
Yes, and I think that's what they're getting at with it.
But
it doesn't
strengthen their case for a show coming out in 2020.
Exactly.
2020 seems like a tight deadline at this point.
I do believe Dave wants to tell more of the Ahsoka story. But that will come in due time for sure.
But at the same time, Dave was kind of satisfied with getting to end the Rebel story on his term. He left it open-ended, but it was still his terms.
Yeah, true.
So he is, at least for the immediate future, satisfied with what he did.
We'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah, it would probably be until he's not busy anymore.
Exactly.
But Mandalorian, fall 2020.
Yep. That's happening.
He's busy.
We know that's happening.
They're recording right now.
Yeah.
So I don't see where his involvement would be. He wouldn't be able to dedicate much time to Rebels. There's no way they'd let that slide. The Mandalorian is a huge success.
Yeah.
They're not going to go, okay, well, you started that. Now you can go ahead and go do this. No, you need to stay on that, Dave.
I'll tell you what. We at least better hope that they don't do it that way.
No, Dave and John, that is a force to be reckoned with right there. Those
Absolutely.
Two together. Phew. You listen to them at the panels, things like that. Yeah, they get it.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
You know, it's about having fun. It's about having fun.
Yeah.
So, all right. It's about time for us to do the magic hand thing and get out of here.
The magic hand thing. Nice.
So if you have anything to add, you think I'm full of crap when I'm talking about the Trevorrow script or anything like that, let me know. Let us know. Email us.
I'd love to see it.
Show at thewarsandmore.com, huh?
I said I'd love to see it. Sorry. Go ahead.
So yeah, email us. Show at thewarsandmore.com. It is the best way to get a hold of us. But we're also on social media. You can light us up there too if you want. Have at it. Open range. We're at The Wars and More on Twitter. Facebook.com/The Wars and More. And you can find all that and all the ways to find the show over at thewarsandmore.com. Any final thoughts this week, Doug?
Nope, I'll stop.
All right. We will talk next week.